This is the story of two Belfasts, 3,000 miles apart, two ports linked by name, by culture and by shared tradition. Belfast, Maine was built by early Ulster-Scots settlers who constructed this small town located at Penobscot Bay and home to 6,500 people in memory of their homeland and mother city of Belfast, Northern Ireland.
It very much looks in some places like Northern Ireland, but the attitudes and the ethos, the work ethic is also very much like Northern Ireland. I know that when people from Maine travel there, they frequently feel like they're seeing their neighbors along the streets. There's so much familiarity between those communities.
In describing Belfast, Maine, you start suddenly reading about Belfast, Northern Ireland, and the comparisons, are many. The harbor, the shipbuilding community, the industries.
While Belfast, Northern Ireland became a world-renowned manufacturer of the biggest and best-known ships, including the Titanic, Belfast, Maine developed a similar reputation in shipbuilding because of the basic crafting skills handed down by those Ulster-Scots settlers. Here they built wooden ships and schooners, and at the height of production, hundreds of ships were constructed and launched from these shores.
A major resource that came from here were the skills that the people had. Skills in blacksmithing, skills in wood turning and in carpentry that could be brought together to form shipbuilding skills given the right environmental conditions. The right environmental conditions, plenty of timber and deep water. As that was being exploited here in Belfast, in Ulster, it was also being exploited in Belfast, Maine, where you had the same conditions. And in fact, you had the same people of the same gene pool who may actually have been related to one another.
Downtown Belfast, Northern Ireland, as a bustling UK regional capital and with its landmark City Hall, is a much bigger entity than its namesake sister. But Belfast, Maine shares the aesthetic appeal of carefully crafted architecture and design. The city is proud of its Ulster-Scots heritage and how the pioneers displayed their resilience and determination.
So they're very often described as being, tenacious, tough, driven. Nothing is really going to scare them off. They did have fears, being so close to maybe, Indian territory. But I think overall, they're described as being, one good group of solid people, determined, very much determined, to make a good go of it.
Back in 1756, Belfast, Maine was very nearly named Londonderry, Maine, as the early settlers were from Londonderry, Northern Ireland. Legend has it that it took a man from Belfast, Northern Ireland, to put that right.
The naming of Belfast, Maine is very interesting because you have Londonderry, New Hampshire having been established, and groups going out from it into Vermont and up to Nova Scotia, forming new Londonderries. And a surveyor from the town called John Mitchell, he decides he'll go up to Maine and he finds a very suitable spot for the growth of a town. And he wants to call it Londonderry. When amongst the group there, a wee man called Jim Miller, who came from here in Belfast, he says, hold on a minute. He reaches into his pocket, he pulls out a coin, they flip it, and it comes down, and guess who won the flip? They called it Belfast, Maine.